everybody, I'm Quinn.
And I'm Scott, and it's time for the Almost Friday show for November 22nd, 2012.
Before we kick it off with our usual telling you what the show consists of, we want to give you a little update. You've probably noticed over the last couple of weeks we haven't really done very many shows, and that's because a lot of things have changed for the crew here. People are back at school, I have a new job which has crazy hours, and the long story short is it's much harder for us to be able to produce a weekly show.
Yes.
So with that in mind, we are going to be bringing the Almost Friday show to a close, but it is not the end.
No, we're going to be introducing some new projects in the new year. Stay tuned for those, obviously. We'll let you guys know when that's happening. This will be our last standard form factor Almost Friday show episode, and we'll probably do some kind of Christmas special before the end of the year.
So we want to do a Christmas wrap-up, but you will see Behind the Lens and a version of Off the Press continue on next year in their own individual shows as opposed to a longer format that we've been doing thus far. And we will be looking to produce some new content and possibly some more comedic-based stuff as well.
Yes, so change in direction. We're not gone, we're just different.
Yes. But you'll still be able to find all the content at almostfridayshow.com.
Of course.
But this week on the show, we're talking about World War Z and The Heat, two trailers that came out the past couple weeks that seem interesting.
Yes, especially if you like Sandra Bullock.
Or zombies.
Yeah,
Or zombie Sandra Bullock.
That would be weird. She should do a zombie movie. Who isn't doing a zombie movie these days?
Javier Bardem.
I don't know who that is.
It's the bad guy in Skyfall.
Oh.
Yeah.
He's true. That wasn't a zombie movie.
No. Well, he got a little zombie. I'm not going to ruin things.
If you haven't seen Skyfall yet, get on that. Then we're going to Tech Insight. We've got a bunch of little things to kind of catch you up with over the last little bit, but we're not going to bore you with stuff that happened 3 weeks ago just because we haven't talked about it yet. So some topical stuff, maybe give you some ideas of what's going on over Christmas.
And I'm bringing you a review of Actions for iPad. It's a really cool, context-sensitive, shortcut key program that works with your software on your laptop or computer. So we'll bring you a little review of that. But without further ado, it's time for Off the Press. Hey everybody, welcome to Off the Press. We're starting it off with Becky having a review of Adventure Time's first game.
So if you haven't been keeping up with how excited Sam and I literally always are about Adventure Time things, they've kind of branched out to become their own cataclysmic brand thing now. So they have a video game, and it's for the DS. So if you don't have a 3DS, don't panic. You can buy this. I paid the extra $10, which still brings it in under $40 for the collector's edition. So this is actually a stainless steel and plastic case. And comes with a number of pretty cool things. So we have the tiny and extremely adorable sword stylus. You get a Book of the Beasts, which is actually pretty useful because it's got little pictures of all the beasts that you come across and the different areas that they're in, which is neat. You also get, I won't fold it out because it's kind of big, but you get a map of the entire world that you work in. And then, so I played the game for probably about 20 minutes, half an hour already. I bought it I'm going to say about an hour ago and have been playing it. And it's basically a platformer / top-down. It's kind of reminiscent of early NES games, adventure stuff. So it's a pretty simplistic game, but I mean, it's a lot of fun so far. They got all the original voices for doing the little in-bits, which is good. And I mean, Adventure Time basically is a really cool fantasy RPG-styled show anyway, so it translates extremely well into a retro-styled RPG game, and so I'm excited to beat it.
Do they manage to incorporate some of the humor that is Adventure Time into the game as well? Because I know it's a little crazy, it's a little out there, and sometimes that can get lost in video games because the video games have more plot than would necessarily be required in a show like this.
For sure. Well, I'm only about, I'm going to say 10% into it so far. I'd like to do another review once I've completed it, but they've definitely maintained all the characterization associated with the individual characters.
Okay.
And so far, it seems to be a mini quest system as you go on your way to get towards the Ice King, who's the primary villain. So I'll do another one once I've defeated it, but, I'm pretty excited. It seems like good stuff so far.
Cool. Well, we're moving on to talk about some trailers. We got two we want to talk about. We're going to start it off with a trailer that Becky likes, which is The Heat, a sort of female version of the buddy cop movie, which is definitely something unique. We haven't really seen female buddy cop movies.
Literally ever.
Yeah. Starring Sandra Bullock and Melissa McCarthy. So why don't you're very excited? So let's go over why you're excited about.
And then we can talk about why Quinn's like not excited even a little bit. So I'm excited.
It's not a feminism thing though. We'll just say that. It's
no,
not
it's,
that.
it's not. It's not. I am excited for it. Primarily as a feminism thing. We don't get buddy cop movies that have women in them. I love Sandra Bullock in a, like, I really love the movie Miss Congeniality, and I have mildly enjoyed everything she's been in since then, but she won my heart with that movie, and so she'll have it for the rest of my life. Melissa McCarthy is an extremely funny lady. I just think she's hilarious, and as a result of the, like, standard genre of straight guy and crazy dude in your standard buddy cop, I think that this could be really funny, and I'm excited for it to come out. And it's the same, like, similar group of people who did Bridesmaids. So if you liked Bridesmaids and buddy cop movies, you're probably set to enjoy this one from the looks of things.
Yeah, see, and that's kind of where my problems start, is that this seems to be a lot of the same stuff, with the only unique spin being that it's now a female buddy cop movie, which is awesome. I like that as a premise. It's cool. But I feel like because all the same people keep making the same kind of movies, it's almost like an Anchorman syndrome, where we're getting, specifically Melissa McCarthy, her including this role and like the two roles she's done previous to this. One of them was like Identity Thief, and then the other one was
Which
a
isn't
character.
even out yet.
Right, but it's coming out like very soon.
Mm-hmm.
And then her character in Bridesmaids, she's sort of been typecast as the really angry fat woman, which, you know, I guess I'm just disappointed because I've seen her as the not angry fat woman, and she's a very good actress.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like this is a bit of a step back. But, you know, maybe if she likes being that character, I suppose. But my problem is that, again, it's the same kind of character, but now she's a cop. And now she's an identity thief. And now she's a dog walker / bridesmaid, you know. And I don't know. It's sort of an Anchorman syndrome.
Mm-hmm, for sure. I don't think we've totally exhausted it yet, especially since physical humor with specifically female casts is not a thing that we see literally at all.
It's true.
It's going to get tired a lot faster because physical humor is done a lot, period.
Yeah.
I totally get that, but I totally agree with all your points, but I'm still super stoked to see this movie.
And then on a personal note, I'm not a huge Sandra Bullock fan, so...
It's true. And
I mean, she can be funny, and Miss Congeniality was a good movie, but there's also a lot of things that I've really just not liked her in. So, I don't know. I'll probably see it, but I'm just hoping it's not like Bridesmaid, where it was a lot of awkward humor, where you were laughing because you wanted the scene to end, not because it was necessarily funny. And I just don't want this movie to be like that, because I find that's the cheapest way to get people to like your movies. To be like, oh, well, we're just gonna, you thought it was awkward now we're gonna do this. And it's just one step further each time.
It's true. I think it's a lot of taking advantage of the fact that awkward humor is in of itself a humor trend that's been going on now. But, I mean... We'll see. You'll go see it because we're all going to go see it.
It's
so
true.
You'll just end up going anyway.
Yeah.
Nothing to be done. So the next trailer that we have up for our segment is World War Z now, or Z, I guess. I got serious feelings, but I want to know what you think about the trailer.
Right, so a couple of things. First off, it's kind of a movie about zombies, but they're zombies kind of like in 28 Days Later, where it's rage virusy, and they're all fast and somewhat cunning and organized and things like that, which is not a traditional take on zombies, but also not an original take on zombies. So it doesn't really gain points for originality, outside of the fact that there seems to be a whole shit ton of them, which is sort of original because it's a little bit more scarce in a lot of movies. I don't know. I think it has potential to be an interesting action movie. I haven't read the book. So again, which is common to my opinion, is that I often don't read the books. I don't read. So I end up enjoying the movies as they are as standalone movies, and I have less to be disappointed about because I have less that it's attempting to achieve. But I'm not sure that this movie really stands out as being anything other than, you know, Resident Evil plus Brad Pitt plus 28 Days Later. I don't know that there's anything stand out about this movie. But it could be really good because it has a decent set of actors in it, and the production value seems pretty high. But again, you know, I feel like zombie movies have been done to death.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely.
Pun intended.
Yeah. All right, so if you don't have any background on this at all, Brad Pitt's production company bought the rights for World War Z like a while ago. And so as a result, he's starring in it, and then also his whole company owns it. So that's basically what they're doing with that. I have read World War Z. It's a Max Brooks book, and he did write a companion book to it, which is The Zombie Survival Guide. Those both function in the same universe. I agree that runner zombies are more interesting in that they have been done less in the wide scope of zombie films, but they're not what's present in Max Brooks' universe. And as a result of that, I think that kind of upsets any sort of adaptation they might be going to do. Now, I've worked really hard on my own personal nerd rage, where I get super mad when books deviate and they make them into movies, and it's why I didn't see the sixth Harry Potter movie in theaters, and I was super mad. But I've worked on it. I'm a lot better at that now. But I still think that
I don't know if you could tell from that, though.
I still think that I would feel better about the fact that they're trying to make this a good movie if they weren't destroying the property that they purchased in order to do it.
I get it, but I feel like it's almost a catch-22 that they're in. Because if they had made this movie like the book was written, it would probably come across as your traditional zombie movie.
I don't think so, because I think, in my personal opinion, as someone who's literally never made a film but watched a lot of them, the best way to adapt this book would be to do it in a documentary style, because it's a series of short stories, and so that way you wouldn't have to worry about it being disjointed. So my main concern is if they're trying to do one consistent plot, how to do this thing?
I guess we'll have to wait and see when we get more trailer that maybe tells a little bit more of the backstory, or whenever it just comes out.
My secret hope is that Brad Pitt's character is actually the Max Brooks / the narrator, and then it could work. But I'm not holding out much hope for that.
Yeah, you might be a little let down.
A little bit.
So that's it for our news this week, but we have new releases. Coming out on the big screen, we got The Life of Pi, which I don't really know how they're going to make a movie about being on a boat with a tiger. But
it looks really pretty, so if you're into that.
that doesn't win all the awards.
No, it doesn't.
We're dumb, but we look really pretty. Well, that only gets you so far.
Fact. And then also out this week is Rise of the Guardians, which is DreamWorks' latest thing about, basically all your childhood fantasy, Santa, Tooth Fairy, everything.
Saving the world.
Saving the world.
Which is always a good thing.
Sure.
The world seems to be in chaos a lot.
Yeah, why not, man?
And then on DVD this week, we've got Expendables 2, which if you liked Expendables 1, it's the same movie with more people, and they wear a lot of trendy coats.
So Sam will probably
and just abuse the crap out of catchphrases they've produced in other movies.
But everybody who liked Expendables 1 liked Expendables 2, so if you liked it, you can go out and get it because it's available now.
It's true. And that's it for Off the Press for this week. Hey everybody, welcome to Tech Insight. We're starting off with some Google news because Google has decided that AirPlay is pretty cool and they want to do it themselves, but just not using AirPlay.
Well, so Google has Google TV.
Yes.
And they looked at, Apple has Apple TV, which is not a product Apple puts much effort at all into.
It's true.
But Apple still sold something like 5.5 million units last year.
Which is interesting because Google puts a pretty decent amount of effort into Google TV and then sells none of them.
Yeah, no, I don't. They're all for sale and they're not even expensive now, but I would never buy one.
It's true.
I'd sooner build myself a home theater PC for twice as much money.
Yeah.
So Google's kind of said, what's the difference here? What's the disconnect? Is AirPlay just works. All you have to do is be on the same Wi-Fi. And we can't AirPlay from any of our tablets, let alone anyone else's tablets or phones, to our own Google TV system.
Yeah.
They released this app that it's like a YouTube remote. And they released it 2 years ago. So it's kind of the same thing where you look up the YouTube video on your phone, you click play on TV, and it plays on your Google TV. So that more or less gives you the same functionality for YouTube only. But you have to connect with PIN numbers and shit, and you have to pair the two devices and stuff like that. So it's really not as seamless. So Google is baking some kind of AirPlay competitor, but they're going to go the open source route, and basically they've been talking to a bunch of different big players in the industry, so probably TV manufacturers and people like that. Probably Samsung quite a bit, if we're honest.
Now you need to go upgrade your television again so you can have Google.
And probably your tablet too.
Yeah.
So I think this would be really good. Now there's like a Miracast, which is an alternative to AirPlay, but it's supported by basically nothing. Because when I found out about that, I was super excited, and then it's not supported.
Because we love AirPlay. We use it all the time.
I love AirPlay, yeah.
Because we have Apple TVs in our studio when we want to watch trailers and someone's talking about something. It works really great to put stuff up. And it really does just, 90% of the time just work.
Yeah.
So to see other companies hopefully make a product that works to the same level of simplicity, I think is good.
What the good thing about Google doing it is if Google makes it, they're gonna make it widespread.
Yeah.
Right. They're not gonna do because I like that Apple has it, but if Apple expanded a lot of their things, everyone's lives would just be better. Technology would be better. but they don't do that. They force you to buy their stuff and use it how they want you to use it, which really is, I think, going to end up limiting Apple as a company eventually. But Google's like, let's just make everyone use this because it's awesome, and we don't even care if we make that much money off it. Because, most of Google's cool stuff is not what they make money on. So if Google does it, it'll definitely catch on, I think. I just hope it's as good. Because that's where they kind of fall short sometimes. In the execution.
It's sometimes a product of being open source is that it gets twisted and turned around by different companies, and then the implementation's not quite the same all the time and stuff like that. But hopefully, the idea is to mirror what Apple's accomplished with AirPlay, and if the companies can stick to that mindset, then I think it does have a good success rate.
Yeah.
And there are lots of Android-based products out there that could use this sort of simplicity. Because, we've had DNLA for years, and you can still ask most people, hey, do you know what DNLA is? And most of them don't know, but a lot more people know what AirPlay is, even if they've never used it.
Yeah.
They at least know what it means.
And the other thing is a lot of stuff's DLNA compatible, but that doesn't mean that they'll all work together.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that any format that one can do, the other can do, and it made it very confusing, because I have a DLNA TV, and I have an Android tablet, which will put out DLNA. I tried that for about 10, 20 minutes. Worst thing ever.
Yeah.
Not only does Android not natively support it from its own player or its own file archive, so you have to get some weird app, but then the TV gets confused, and I tried it with the Xbox. That's also a DLNA computer. That didn't work. I tried it with 2 or 3 home theater programs on my HTBC that also claimed to support it. That's horrible.
Yeah.
I don't know what they did, but when they made that standard, they were like, this is how you'd pass the data. And then forgot the whole, video codec thing.
Yeah.
Or audio codec thing. So it's kind of a mess. So if Google can kind of... I think it'd be awesome, because I really want to just have whatever and be able to play it to whatever. I don't want to have to have an Apple product or a Google product in everywhere so I can do this, right? I want to walk home with my Android phone and throw it up on my Samsung TV or whatever, my LG TV, just because that's awesome, and that's what the future,
For sure.
right? So hopefully this
Future
is
without wires.
Yeah,
That's the life we want to live.
So this could be a good step.
Moving on, if you like gaming and game on your computer, you probably know what DirectX is, because it really kind of kickstarted the entire gaming revolution on PCs.
And still really drives it. All
Absolutely.
the best looking games are still, using DirectX and things like that. Has pushed a lot of people. A lot of the gamers only upgraded to Windows 7 because DX11 was Windows 7 only.
Yeah.
A lot of people had to go buy new video cards because the old video cards didn't support DirectX 11. And a lot of gamers have needlessly complained about Windows 8. That's a whole other story. Basically, if you're a gamer and you don't know about that argument, it doesn't matter. It's the same as using Windows 7, gaming wise. If you don't like the interface, that's another thing. But once you get into the game, it's the exact same. But when Microsoft has decided they're actually going to kind of force you to do that. DirectX 11.1 is coming out soon, and that update will be available only on Windows 8. Now, in this short term, that's not going to matter. If you're still
Because it's a 0.1 update.
Exactly. It's a 0.1 update, so it's not going to be mandatory for any current games or games that are in the pipes, as well as graphics cards. If they support the new one, that doesn't really matter. They'll still work on older OSs.
But it is the warning that this is coming.
But basically, once 12 ships and all the games switch to 12, which they will, that's just inevitable. All the graphics cards will start supporting 12.
Because you want things to look prettier.
You will have to upgrade to Windows 8. So you might as well do it now while it's still really cheap. Also, if you want properly used 3D through DirectX, you need 11.1. So if 3D gaming on your PC is a big thing that you like, just upgrade to Windows 8 and move on. No one really likes it. Even me, and I'm a huge Windows guy. So we're just going to have to, and wait for Windows 9. But, heads up.
It seems like operating systems get their strides in turn. It's like, Snow Leopard was really good, and then Lion came around. And 7 was really good, and then 8 came around.
I was a lot happier when 7 and Snow Leopard were out.
The world was a better place.
I sat at home and go, I like both operating systems I use every day. I can't say that anymore. I don't like Mountain Lion very much. I really don't like Windows 8. So, someone's going backwards by trying to go forward. It's not great.
Yeah.
Next up, a little Canadian content. The CRTC, which is our television communications regulating body, I guess. They've decided to draft what they're calling the wireless code. Up in Canada, we have a lot of problems with things like our wireless
You say
carriers.
that, and it brings this, I have this mental picture of, Mounties carrying a large antenna up a hill so they can mount it and have coverage across the lands. Like
That's more or less what happens.
Okay.
You've seen our antennas.
Beaver jacks?
They're vast.
Huge tracts of land.
Yeah. Or we just spotty coverage in most of the country.
Yes.
Yeah.
Those damn trees.
Yeah. Or wheat. Anyway, we have a lot of weird issues up here with wireless. We have 3-year contracts instead of 2-year contracts.
Like the rest of the world has.
Yeah. Although we do get things like LTE first, we're charged at the yin yang for it. Our data's more expensive, our minutes are more expensive, the phones are more expensive until recently. And it's really hard to get out of your contract, and it's really hard to switch carriers and all this kind of stuff. So the CRTC has decided that they're going to draft some kind of regulations to kind of wrangle in what the carriers can do and kind of make it an even playing field. And how they're doing that is instead of just doing it, which is surprising because that's what this government likes to do.
It's true.
They're actually asking the people. So you can go to consultation.crtc.ca by the 4th of December, so next week after next week. Yes, .gc. Yeah, I'm sorry. But if you search consultation CRTC in Google, you'll probably find it. And you can give your input. What should the wireless code regulate? Should it regulate, contract length? Should it regulate cancellation? Should it regulate, what speed should be available?
Should it regulate all of those things?
Yeah. So, and how much, and how should the complaints against that code be resolved? Should it be through the courts? Should it be an independent body? Should it be the CRTC? Should it be done within the company? So I really like that they're giving the consumer input before they even draft anything. So this is like a much bigger deal than it's going to end up being, and it should be a much bigger deal than it's going to end up being, because I'm really dedicated to this, and I haven't even commented.
But it's good to see they're trying.
Yeah, well, that's the problem.
And that they're including us.
The CRTC has made all the right choices here, but the Canadian public is generally very apathetic.
Yes.
About everything.
We are a pushover nation.
We'll complain but we won't do anything about it.
Yeah.
So this would be a good chance if you really want to do something about it, to do something about it. And hopefully in 5, 10, 15 years times this actually goes forward. There's going to be a second round of consultation later on. They say January, but it's the federal government of Canada, so probably look like
May.
Yeah. But there will be another chance next year to voice your opinion once they get the first round through. Yeah, so that's the Canadian content. Please go on if you feel strongly about this kind of stuff and fight for your wireless rights to party.
Fight for your right to phone call. There we go. That's what I'm going with.
That's better.
Yeah. Speaking of bad music, Fender has introduced a new guitar because they make guitars.
They do.
It's what they do.
They're known for that?
Yeah. But this one's special because it plugs into your iOS device.
Yeah, directly.
Yes.
And not via an iRig or anything like that. It's actually got a digital USB connection in the guitar that goes to your, sucks for you new iPad owners, 30-pin connector. So you can basically use your iPad to record the guitar directly. You can put effects on it. You can loop. You can basically anything you could do with any other audio input device. So it's really cool because it's right out of the guitar. Now, I wasn't going to talk about this, except it's $200.
Yeah.
They put it in a Squire, which is their cheapest, lowest quality guitar. However, I think that's the best place for this.
Yeah, because, if you're using it with your iPad, it's probably more of a toy than a serious music-making instrument.
Absolutely.
Or, a hobbyist music-making instrument anyways.
Yeah, I mean, it's not, I say cheapest made guitar, but I mean, Fender makes $5,000 guitars.
It's true.
But there's nothing wrong with a $200 Squire if you're learning or if you just play a little bit, that kind of thing. They're perfectly serviceable guitars, but you get this cool extra everything. You don't have to go buy a bunch of effects pedals now. You don't have to buy, something to be able to plug it into your computer to record. You can just do it all on your iPad or iPhone.
Yeah, you might have noticed that there's a lot more audio-related products coming out recently. And that's because iOS 6 opened up a door that we didn't have before, which is bilinear stereo audio, which means that the audio can be sent and received over the same cable, we've seen that DJing on iPads and iPhones is popular, but the problem we've always had is queuing on headphones while also outputting, and we've had to do stereo splitting over cables, which is not ideal because you lose all your fun stereo-ness.
Yeah.
And that problem has been solved with iOS 6, so now it allows the 30-pin port to send multiple stereo signals to multiple locations, which allows things like this to work, where you can send stuff into the app can do something with it, and then send it back into the guitar so that the headphones you've plugged into the guitar get to hear all the effects you've added to it.
Absolutely.
But previous to iOS 6, this was not a possibility.
Yeah. So, it looks really good. Implementation looks really fun. Great Christmas present for somebody who wants that they're thinking about getting a guitar or likes playing guitar and wants to get an electric or something like that. You can plug a headphone into it directly without the iPad and listen to it, which is cool. I would love that. So you don't have to have a giant app that you never use because you live in an apartment.
Yes.
You can also, like you said, mix stuff on there and have it listen back through the guitar. You can record on the iPad, and it also has the standard 1/4-inch jack, so you can still plug it into an amp and all.
You
that
can still
kind of
do
normal
guitar
stuff.
things with it.
It's a normal guitar plus all this extra
Plus
stuff.
a small computer.
So it looks really cool. Now you do need to actually have an iPad or iPhone, which is a lot more than $200. But
Unless you want to use it just to connect to your computer.
yes, I don't know if it does that.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if it does that. I wouldn't be surprised, but they're not advertising it. What they are saying is that it will work with the 30-pin to Lightning adapter.
Okay.
So if you do have a brand new iPad, an iPad Mini, or the iPhone 5, you can still get that two-way audio through that connector. However, now you'd need a USB to 30-pin to Lightning to get it to work, which is just getting insane. But definitely a cool Christmas gift. So
Moving on, we're doing an app review, which we haven't done in quite some time.
really quite some time.
Yes, we're talking about a really cool app for the iPad called Actions. As you can see here on my desktop, we'll fire this guy up. And this application is basically designed to be a shortcut key program, and now that I want to actually do something with it, it doesn't want to do it. Oh, man.
Looks like it's kind of crashing.
Oh, it's because I'm in edit mode. That's
there
why.
you go.
There we go. So what it allows you to do is basically create presets for different applications on your Mac or Windows computer. And it allows you to do a lot of things faster because now you have a whole bunch of large buttons that you can touch with your fingers. You can group buttons into subcategories to do various things with. You can have multiple pages of applications if your application that you're using has a lot of things you want to do with it. But what I like best about this software is that it is designed to work with a handful of very popular applications, and it communicates directly with your computer so that when you switch applications, it also switches the screen on your iPad. So if you're using any hotkeys on your computer to go from Safari to Finder to Lightroom or something, this app will also keep up with it. It's pretty cool when you want to create a preset pack because, for instance, we've got Final Cut here. And I can click on the little edit tool in the corner. I can move these panels around any way that I want to. If I decided that I wanted to put some of these items together because they're tools, I can create a new subset. I can then go into these subsets and I can edit them, give them different names. I can give them icons if I want to, which is pretty cool. It has a very large library of icons that you can choose, and they're also application specific. So if I wanted to choose this icon, I can also change the color, and then I can click back over here, and now I've changed that, and if I click on it, I'll have to leave edit mode. If I click on it, you'll now see the 2 items that I've added to that subset. And if we want to add a new action, we can either create one, which allows us to put in a shortcut key, so we can choose Command plus Shift plus the letter G, for instance, and then we can choose what it's going to do if we want to choose any of these specific applications that we have running on your computer. And it's cool because it actually looks at your applications list and finds what you have, as opposed to just sort of having a gigantic list of generic applications people would use. So in this case, we're dealing with Final Cut, so I could skim through this and find Final Cut, choose that as the application, change a color, and then give it a different label if I wanted to, make it a yin-yang, for instance, and call this Zen mode. And Zen mode allows me to turn up the volume. I don't know.
It's not very zen.
No. Well, it turns up the volume of really cool. I don't know what the word I'm looking for is now.
Clearly.
Yeah, psytrance music. There we go. Something. I don't know. But what you can also do is you can load specific actions as well. And this is what I really like because I'm indecisive, and when I'm making a sort of selection of the things I want, I also don't always think about all the key commands I might use.
Oh, yeah.
So if I go here and again choose Final Cut Pro 10, now it has a built-in preset of all the typical actions that people would use. So if I'm also like, oh, I need a new compound clip, but I have no idea what the key command is for it, I can just choose this. And it's also really quick. If you need to choose a couple of different items in one shot, you can, and then you can just add them, and it automatically puts them in there, gives them a color based on the grouping that the apps has sort of decided, and gives them the proper icon as well. So again, I could grab this next video angle and put them together so that they are a subset, and I won't change the text on it in this case. But again, now I've got that subset for different things. So I really dig it because, one, it looks really pretty. Two, it's super functional. And I think the best part is that it syncs with the apps you're using. So it's not like you have to go, oh, I'm on Safari now, hang on, flip through my pages to find my Safari one.
The barrier to be able to use it is almost non-existent, right? Because you can load it up and just preload all those things you just went through for the apps you already use. And as you saw in that list, it's apps that everybody it has all your different browsers. It has, things like Photoshop and Lightroom and Final Cut and Audition and all that kind of stuff. iTunes. It's got all these like applications that everybody's using every day. So you can kind of go through your presets, and if it didn't have the presets, it would be a lot harder to get into.
Yeah.
You'd have to start making all the shortcuts you think about, and you'd have to think about it. But this way, you can just boom and start using it.
Yeah.
Which makes a lot, and then customize it as you see fit after trying to use it.
Yeah, and that's what I like, is because they give you the list of actions, you can kind of skim through and go, oh, I use that. Oh, yeah, I use that too. And, just select a bunch of the ones you want and then do it. And they also allow you to choose whether you want to have small icons or big icons. You get an extra row if you go small. But obviously they're harder to hit because they're smaller. So I like the flexibility of it. It's super well priced. It's currently $2.99 in the App Store, which I think is a really great price for an application of this amount of flexibility. Yeah. And they're claiming right now that they are also working on an iPhone version if you want sort of a small keypad for some quick Twitter shortcuts or some quick mail actions or things like that. I don't know if it's going to be universal. I would love that because then I would have one on both and I don't know, multitask or something. That'd be
iCloud
cool.
Sync.
iCloud Sync. Yeah. Oh, and that's actually, they do iCloud Sync it. So what happens is if you've got different setups for different computers, it recognizes which computers you're on and then switches the setups based on the computers and all that kind of stuff. So it's a really awesome app that looks super pretty. It's really easy to use. It's really easy to set up. And it's really well priced.
And it has functionality for a very wide, broad base of users.
Absolutely.
You're interested in it because you can get a lot of Final Cut shortcuts.
Yeah, I want Final Cut. I want Lightroom. I want Photoshop.
I'm thinking, how can I use this on my home theater PC? How can I use this in Excel when I'm coding? Also, another thing that I would never use it for, but I think gamers might love it.
Yeah.
If it works well in games, I don't know. You'd have to try it. They don't necessarily advertise that. But people love having stupid macros in games. And if you could use that for game macros, no one would ever buy any of those stupid expensive keyboards anymore.
Yeah.
If it was fast enough, which I think it probably is.
Yeah.
And the customization alone, I think, would be huge.
Yeah, so it works over the Wi-Fi network, which is great because it does mean, it's the kind of thing like if you've got a little Mac Mini or something and you plug it into your TV and you want to do some photo editing or some web browsing on your TV, now your tablet becomes a much more functional version of a keyboard for you to do stuff with.
Yeah, because those remote keyboard and mouse apps are never quite very good at all. It looks really good.
So I've used it. It's pretty cool. I highly recommend it. I think it's $2.99, but there was a mention of a sale, but I already had it installed. So it's either $2.99 or it's on sale for $2.99. But either way, you should pick it up if you like doing macro key sets.
Actions available in the iOS store for iPad only, iPhone coming.
Yes. And that's it for Tech Insight for this week. And that brings us to the end of the show this week, and quite possibly our last normal show. So we want to thank everyone who has stuck around and watched most of, or some of, or maybe just a few of the 130 episodes we've produced.
Even just this one, really.
Over for the nearly 2 years that we've been producing this video show now. So we will be coming back with a Christmas episode. It might be in studio.
Nearly 3 years.
Is it 3 years?
Well, 54 weeks in a year.
It's true.
Yeah.
Nearly 3 years of producing this video show.
Is that right?
I don't know.
Let's say yes.
Let's go with it. So we will come back with a Christmas episode. Maybe it'll be in the studio. Maybe it'll be out in the snow. Who knows? Probably not in the snow. We're lazy.
Probably not in the snow, yeah.
But maybe not in the studio. Who knows?
Yeah, we might get creative. We
But
do
if-
that occasionally.
But if you want to drop us any lines and tell us that you liked our show, that you're sad we're leaving, or that good riddance, these guys are finally going to stop producing stupidly long episodes, you can reach us on the Twitters at @almost_Friday.
Or, of course, you can send us a long email complaining about how awful we are at contact@almostfridayshow.com.
And you can follow us on Facebook. You will get the new videos because we will continue to post the segmented shows that we produce in the new year to the Facebook page, and you can follow that at the Almost Friday Show on Facebook.
Yeah, so remember, when the new year comes around, go to the same places to find us. It'll just be slightly different content.
Yes, and there might be some new Twitter accounts, I suspect,
I imagine, yes, once we get some branding together.
or something.
Maybe.
We like to claim to do things, and
We like to talk about doing things.
if we could just do things with our mind, we'd have amazing stuff.
Wouldn't everyone, though?
It's true.
Yeah.
And with that, I'll close.